Hello students, welcome to this little auxiliary lesson on negative numbers. So what are negative numbers? Negative numbers are nothing but numbers less than zero. I know that might take kind of a little bit to get mentally used to because in the real world you don't really think of numbers less than zero, right? Like how can you have less than zero apples? Or how can you have less than zero pairs of shoes? But sometimes negative numbers actually do play a role in your life. For example, you sort of can have negative money, right? You can have positive money. You can have, say, $3 in your wallet. You can have negative money. You can owe money, right? And as a college graduate, believe me, I know a lot. I know a lot about owing money. I owe a ton of it. So negative numbers, if you take out student loans, will be most likely an unfortunate fact in your life. So negative numbers in that sense do exist in the real world. It's often helpful to visualize negative numbers on a number line. Hopefully we're all somewhat familiar with the concept of a number line. Number line is just centered here at 0. And then if you go to the right on the number line, you have increasing positive numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so forth. I just read up to 8 here. But if you go to the left on the number line, starting at 0, that's where our negative numbers come into play. You start at -2, then go down to you start at -1, and you go down to -2, go down to -3, and so forth. So one thing that you need to keep in mind with negative numbers is that the relative order of negative numbers is the opposite of the order of positive numbers. Okay, well, what does that mean? It probably might have sounded a little confusing. What it means is we're probably familiar with the fact that 3, for example, is bigger than 2. We know that 3 is bigger than 2, right? And that's all this little symbol here means. This just means bigger than. We know that 3 is bigger than 2. But this relationship, when it comes to negative numbers, is sort of in the reverse. What I mean by that is, in the negative world, -2 is actually bigger than -3, right? Because remember, on the number line, the numbers grow as you move further to the right, correct? The bigger numbers occur as you go to the right. And that also extends when you go to the left. The numbers to the right are bigger. That means the numbers to the left are smaller. And -3, for example, is further to the left on the number line than -2, right? So in this case, -3 is actually smaller than -2. Otherwise stated, -2 is greater than -3. Just another random example here. Something like -7 would actually be bigger, in fact, much bigger than, say, -1,000, right? The further to the left on the number line, the smaller the number is. All right, so now that we know a little bit more about negative numbers and the number line, we can use the number line as a very helpful tool to do some basic addition and subtraction with negative numbers. All right, let's start with something like, let's say negative, if I can write here, let's say we had a problem that was -2, let's say +8. All right, let's say -2 + 8. All right, so don't panic if you're not quite sure how to do this yet. Let's just use the number line because -2, +8, pretty manageable numbers. All right, so how can you do addition with the number line? All right, well, where are we starting? We're starting at -2. So let's just draw a little dot there. We're starting at -2, and we're adding 8. When you add, you go to the right on the number line because you're getting larger, right? Hopefully we remember this. So we're going to go to the right 8 spaces. We can just count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And where do we land? Looks like we land at +6. So -2 + 8 equals +6. All right, let me get rid of some of this work and we'll do a couple more examples here. Here we go. All right, let's try something like, I don't know, let's try 5 minus 7. 5 minus 7, we'll use the number line again. We're starting where? At +5. All right, we're subtracting a number. When you subtract a positive number, at least, well, let's save that terminology for later. When you subtract in general, you're getting smaller, right? That means you're going to go to the left on the number line. So we're starting at positive 5, going to the left on the number line. How many spaces? 7 spaces. So let's count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, where did we land? We landed at -2. So 5 minus 7 is equal to -2. All right, let's do maybe 1 or 2 more of these, and then I'll give you guys a shot to try some examples. All right, what would be a good example? Let's try something like -8, and let's try plus 15. Let's try -8 plus 15. Kind of getting into the larger numbers now, but still manageable, right? Where are we starting? We're starting at -8. Okay. And then what are we doing? We are adding, which means we're moving to the right on the number line. How many spaces? 15 spaces. All right, so let's count 15 spaces to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We added 15, and where did we end up? Looks like we ended up at positive 7. So -8 plus 15 is just positive 7. And let's do one more result. Let's do, not result, one more example. Let's do one more example. Let's try, for example, -3 minus 4. Let's try -3 minus 4. All right, where do we start? We start at -3. That's right here on the number line. And what are we doing? We're subtracting. That means we're moving to the left on the number line, right? And by how many units are we moving to the left? 4, because we're subtracting 4. Start at -3, move to the left 4, count out 1, 2, 3, 4. And -3 minus 4 is nothing but -7. All right, so if the numbers are relatively not too great in terms of magnitude, like the numbers we saw here as examples, it can be quite easy to use and helpful to use the number line as a visual tool. So go ahead and try some of the examples I have below this video.